important. Of international organization is very important. And in the Security Council, there are 5 permanent members. You know all of it. Many times I told you that there are 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. How many? 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. The charter gave the permanent members a privileged position to bring about a stability after the Second World War. Means the charter gave the permanent members a privileged position. एक उनको एक स्पेशल पावर दी गई, प्रिविलेज पोजीशन. वो प्रिविलेज पीपल है, प्रिविलेज कंट्रीज हैं, और उन कौन कितने परमानेंट मेंबर्स हैं? 5 परमानेंट मेंबर्स हैं. और कितने नॉन परमानेंट मेंबर्स हैं? 10 नॉन परमानेंट मेंबर्स हैं. कब उनको प्रिविलेज्ड पोजीशन मिला? It after the Second World War. The charter gives the permanent members a privileged position to bring about stability in the world after the Second World War. The main privilege of the 5 permanent members are permanency and the veto power. This could be a question. This could be a question for you for the final examination. That what type of privilege position are getting by the permanent members? So you will what you will do? You will first write the privileged position given by the Security Council to the 5 permanent members are, right, that they are being privileged and they are permanent members. They are basically permanent members. All others are non-permanent, 10 are the non-permanent members. And special position is veto power. So the main privilege of the 5 permanent members are permanency. They have got the permanency where? In the Security Council, and the veto power. The non-permanent members serve for only 2 years. Non-permanent members serve only for 2 years at a time and give way after the period to newly elected members. और non-permanent members क्या करते हैं? 2 साल के लिए elect होते हैं. They are being elected for the 2 years. और when the 2 years been completed, they used to give the seat to another successor who is coming after them. So the non-permanent members serve for only 2 years at a time and give way after that period to newly elected members. A country cannot be re-elected immediately after the completing a term of 2 years. Let me tell you one thing. A country cannot get another term immediately after when he is going to complete his own term. मतलब 2 साल खत्म हो चुके. सो वो जो कंट्री है, सपोज इंडिया का 2 साल खत्म हो चुका, सो 2 साल के बाद इमीडिएटली उसको दोबारा चांस नहीं मिलेगा. इट विल टेक सम टाइम, another 3, 4, 5 years. So a country cannot be re-elected immediately after the completing the term for 2 years. The non-permanent members are elected in a manner so that they represent all the continents of the world. The non-permanent members are elected in a manner, इस तरीके से उनको चुना जाता है, the non-permanent members को, that they represent all the continent of the world. सभी continent को वो represent कर सके. It means the non-permanent members has also its say in the Security Council. But they are after 2 years, their position is gone. Right. So, and permanent members, they are always permanent. Fine. So next part is, so you got it? So I revise again. How many permanent members? 5 permanent members. What is the main aspect of that? Non-permanent members, they are being elected for 2 years. What they do? They represent the whole continent for 2 years. What are the other things? They cannot be re-elected just immediately after 2 years, because another country is waiting to vanquish the seat, and another country will come up. So they are non-permanent. And permanent members, They have got the permanency and they have got the veto power. This is the main aspect. This is the privilege for them. Most important of the non-permanent members do not have the veto power. सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात क्या है कि नॉन परमानेंट मेंबर्स के पास वीटो पावर नहीं है. What is the veto power? This is again a question for you in the final examination. What is the veto power? In taking decision, the Security Council proceeds by voting. All members have one vote. However, the permanent members can vote in a negative manner so that even if all permanent members, non-permanent members vote for a particular decision, any permanent member's negative vote can stall the decision. This negative vote is the veto. You got my point? First of all, what is the veto? A negative vote is the veto. Means all five permanent members, they have to say yes on all sort of decisions. For example, USSR, this country, and earlier it was a country and now after disintegration Russia is there. So suppose take the example of Russia. Many time the European countries and four other non-permanent member countries of the Security Council, they say yes that Kashmir should be transferred to Pakistan. At that time, they were very much close. Pakistan and Europe, European countries, they were very much close to each other. India was aloof. Then this Russia, or you can say the USSR, they always say veto. They, they didn't agree, this country didn't agree that Kashmir should go to Pakistan. That is the reason, that is the reason that still Kashmir is with us. So this is the veto power. Any negative decision in the Security Council by a permanent member against any decision, that is to stall a decision, किसी decision को रोकने के लिए veto power को use किया जाता है. A negative power is called veto. Now, you tell all the other, just another thing is that please tell other students who are related to political science, they should they should join the session if they can. They should also join the session, right? So while there has been a move to abolish or modify the veto system, fine. So while there has been a move, this is the part I will enlarge it. While there has been a move to abolish or modify the veto system, there is also a realization that permanent members are unlikely to agree to such a reform. Any reform, basically what the problem is that any reform sometime which doesn't suits the permanent member, any permanent member, they go for the veto. So while there has been a move to abolish or modify the veto system, there is also a realization that the permanent members are unlikely to agree such a reform. Any reform which is not suits, which doesn't suits this five permanent member, they will not agree. They will not agree that reform. Also, the world may not be ready for such a radical step, even though the Cold War is over. Without the veto, there is a danger, as in 1945, that the great powers would lose interest in the world body. Suppose veto power को खत्म कर दी जाती है, तो जो great powers है, big powers है, five great powers, and many other countries, European countries, they supports one or another great power. Five permanent members में जितने भी members हैं, उनको कोई ना कोई support, अच्छी खासी support, तो support नहीं करेंगे. ना five permanent, जो permanent members हैं, they will not take part in any type of decision. Their interest will be no there, absolutely no interest. So they may not agree to such a reform, and this step is not accepted by many of the countries. Without the veto, there is a danger, as in 1945, the great powers would lose interest in the world body. Right? Here it is written. This is in page number 91, first column, second paragraph. Right? So without the veto, there is a danger, as in 1945. So what they will do? They would do what they pleased outside, and that without their support and involvement, the body would be ineffective. And when big powers, they are not supporting, the interest will go, there will be no interest. When there will be no interest, there will be no involvement in any decision, because there is no power of the veto. And what will, when there is no interest, no interest any decision, right? And their performance will be in the negative way, and then involvement will be nowhere, then the body would ineffective. Which body? Security Council or UN, it will be ineffective. The main concern of the Security Council is to give the security to the world and member countries against any war. Sorry. They will not, you know, they will not go for this type of involvement, and they will set aside themselves. Involvement नहीं होगा उनका. और मेन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल और यूएन का मेन काम क्या है? To establish peace wherever there is, some type of disturbances there. There should be peace. There should be security. There should there should be cooperation. There should be cooperation, and there should be development. Peace, cooperation, development. These three principles are there, main principles. Now, what is the jurisdiction of the UN? Jurisdiction, कहाँ से उनकी हदें शुरू होती है? The question of membership is a serious one. Jurisdiction of the UN. The question of membership is a serious one. In addition, though there are more substantial issues before the world, as the UN completed 60 years of its existence, more than 60 years. It's an old book, more than 60 years. The head of the all member states met in September 2005. 2005 means 16 years खत्म हो गए थे, means more than 15, 15 more than 15, 75 years, more than 75 years. The head of the minus 45, 1945, 2020, minus 45. The leaders in this meeting decided that the following steps should be taken to make the UN more relevant in the changing context. A lot of time has been passed since 1945, a good span of years from 1945 to 2020. Now, lot of changes are there. Changes in the environment, changes in the UN also could be there. Disintegration of USSR, many new countries were born, new countries came up in the UN, problems of population, problems of disintegration, problems of pollution, problems of war, peace negotiations, failure of peace negotiations, many problems are there. Right. Then first is problem is changing context. It but it is much more relevant. UN has its own power, and they are very much relevant. Where creation of a peace building commission. Still, UNO is successful to maintain the peace, cooperation, and development. Still, it's relevant towards today's scenario, world scenario. It's a lot of many countries they accept the UNO's path. So, creation of a peace building commission. Then, second part, acceptance acceptance of the responsibility of the international community in case of failures of national governments to protect their own citizens from atrocities. You know, they always behave like a watchdog, this UN, and they accept the responsibility of the international community. लोगों की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लोगों की तरफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी के ऊपर अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को यूएन समझता है दे एक्सेप्ट what is their responsibility in case of failures. Your responsibility is much more vital, manifold when you are a failure. So, in case of failures of national governments to protect their own citizens from atrocities, many countries they used to do a lot of atrocities in on their own citizens. For example, Iraq, it is said Saddam Hussein, Libya, Colonel Gaddafi. So they used to stop them. These so that the kings, the government officials, they should not create any type of chaos or havoc or terrorize their own people. This is they accept this their responsibility. Point number three, Human Rights Commission or Council. It is operational since the 19th June 2006. 19th June 2006 से Human Rights Commission का एक council है which is working to establish and to tell the various governments, various bodies of international organizations and countries that they should accept the human rights organizations, conditions. So, human establishment of Human Rights Council that is operational since June 19, 2006. Next, agreement to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. They have their own goals, international organization, Security Council or UN. They have their own goals. So they want to achieve their goals. Right. Next, condemnation of terrorism in all forms of and manifestation. They always condemn the terror. They condemn the terror. International organization or UNO, they always condemn the terror and terrorists. Creation of democracy funds. These they work they have done. Creation of democracy funds. An agreement to wind up the trusteeship council. So there was a trusteeship council, so they wind up. उसको वो खत्म कर दिया उन्होंने. सभी ने एक्सेप्ट किया इस बात को. It is not hard to see that these are equally continuous issues of the UN. What should be peace building commission do? पीस बिल्डिंग कमीशन जो है उसको क्या करना चाहिए? There are any member of conflicts of all over the world which one should it intervene in. Is it possible or even desirable for it to intervene in such and in each and every conflict? Similarly, what is the responsibility of international community in dealing with the atrocities? What do you mean by atrocities? किसी कोई country जब किसी countries के ऊपर या अपने ही country के लोग, the government, when they used to do something wrong on the humanity, they used to accept the terrorism. Many countries are there to continue with their government. Right. So, similarly, what is the responsibility of the international community in dealing with the atrocities? So, dealing with the atrocities में international community का क्या role है? And वो क्या कर रही है? What are the human rights and who should determine the level of human rights violation? Who is going to decide that what do you mean by human rights? और ह्यूमन राइट शुरू कहां से होती है? क्या आपका लेवल है? They used to think about it and violation and the course of action to be taken when they are violated. Or then UN, what is UN doing? If the human right is violated in a country, so what the UN is doing? What action to be taken? क्या action लिया जा सकता है? Right? उस violation के against. Given that so many countries are still part of the developing world. You know, I told you the developed countries are few, developing countries are many. So, so many countries are still part of the developing world. How realistic is it for the UN to achieve an ambitious set of goals, such those listed in the Millennium Development Goal? Can there be an agreement on a definition of terrorism? What do you mean by terrorism? Somebody says good terrorism and bad terrorism. It's a very common sentence, good terrorism and bad terrorism. Terrorism is terrorism, terror plus ism. What do you mean by ism? Ism means, let me tell you, let me define you what do you mean by terrorism. What do you mean by terror? Terror means डर. किसी के ऊपर डर को स्थापित करना, terror. Plus ism, सिद्धांत. What do you mean by ism? सिद्धांत. So terrorism, डर का सिद्धांत. You create 8